Hey Blades fans, welcome back to Hertz Arena for the January 12th matchup between the Everblades and the Savannah Ghost Pirates. Will Henschel alongside Jake Maurice previewing the action tonight. And Jake, let's just address the elephant in the room. Wednesday's matchup did not go the way Florida wanted. A 4-1 loss, a pretty tough one to take.
Yeah, I mean, you're going into your first home game of 2024. You're coming off a road trip where you were playing some pretty good hockey for the most part. Power play was rolling, some other things were going your way, and then an egg on Wednesday night where you had 44 shots, get one goal, but it didn't really feel like a game where you had 44 shots. It was a tough one for the Blades, no doubt, but a chance to redeem yourself tonight.
Yeah, Florida piling on shots on Savannah starting netminder Jesper Vikman, making his first ECHL start on Wednesday's matchup and coming up with 43 saves. So an impressive performance. Sometimes you just run into a hot goaltender. Florida getting their only goal of the game early into the second period off the stick of Logan Lambden. So really a lot of opportunities to score a goal. A hot goalie in Savannah, and really only one thing to show for in the night.
Yeah, and unfortunately Florida, they couldn't capitalize on the momentum of that goal. It came in the first minute of the second period, which is a perfect time to tie the game. Everyone's sitting down again. You get them energized right at the start of the period, but unfortunately Florida could never really use that in the rest of the game. And there were times where they tried to build energy, whether through their offense or through physicality, like at the end of the second period. Nuber and Ortebody were trying to get someone to go with them to get some life in with a good fight. Savannah wasn't biting on it. They knew they had Florida in a tough spot. They knew that their goaltender was playing really well, and that allowed them to play with a little bit more confidence in front of them. And it just seemed like a night where things were going one team's way, not the other. All around the arena last night, it felt like Savannah just took over.
And it should be said that Savannah didn't really give Florida too many opportunities to build a lot of momentum. They played a very clean game, only amassing one penalty on the entire night, so no real power play opportunities to speak of for the Everblades. But if that opportunity comes tonight, they got to make the most of it.
Yeah, I mean, they only had one, and they didn't really do too much on it in the first period of Wednesday's game. So, yeah, you got to draw more penalties tonight, and when you get them, you got to take advantage, particularly if it's a game like it was on Wednesday where the chances aren't really going your way. It's hard to get things going shift after shift and really build up the positive momentum like Florida has struggled with at times on Wednesday. A power play can be a big game changer in that facet. On the other side of things, Florida, they were fairly disciplined. 3 penalties against spread throughout the game. One of them came pretty late when it was clear what the result would be. But it still didn't help that you come out on the wrong side of the penalty battle, especially in a game where penalties are hard to come by. One power play goal, if Florida could have gotten one in the third period of power play and then scored on it, maybe we're talking about a different game where Florida steals one away.
This is the second of a 5-game de facto series, 3 games here at Hertz Arena, then the All-Star break, then 2 games in Savannah. And Jake, we saw a very physical matchup, or I should say Wednesday night, in the opener of this 5-game series. So we can expect a lot more physicality, a bit of a skirmish between the periods at one point, but we can definitely expect to see a couple of bodies being thrown and a couple of shovings after the whistle.
Yeah, these guys know this is an important 2-week stretch. It's basically a mini playoff series, and it's South Division hockey. Nobody likes each other, and they're willing to show it on the ice, and they certainly did last night. Didn't see any full-on fights, but there were certainly some players on Florida's side that were ready to go. Not sure what we'll see from that tonight. It'll probably be determined by the style of game we get early on. Is it going to be a close one? Is it going to be one team drastically outplaying the other? Because that's going to change how the guys react on the ice. But for the most part, we're definitely going to see intense battles along the boards. You got to keep your head up when you're moving through the middle of the ice, because there are some big hits late in that game yesterday by both clubs. So everybody's got to make sure their shoulder pads and all that is set on tightly, because you're going to be getting some bumps and bruises tonight, that's for sure.
Definitely want to make sure everything is fitting properly tonight. But Jake, we kind of mentioned it. The shots getting piled on last night, especially late, or really piling on a lot of shots in the first period and the third period. How does Florida keep up that pace and really challenge the Savannah goalie tonight?
Well, it's never a bad thing to have 44 shots on goal. If you repeat that again tonight, their goalie would be hard-pressed to have another 43 save performance. So it's just about keeping that mentality of getting on them early and staying on them throughout the game, right? You got to set the tone in the first few minutes before the first TV timeout. You could look to get as many shots as you can. A power play or something like that would certainly help. But for the most part, when you're going into Savannah's zone, you've got to figure out how can we get to the puck on net. It doesn't have to be perfect. Don't just chuck it from distance and pray. But finding a 100% guaranteed goal isn't worth giving up a chance at a 75% where you get a really good look. So you just got to get into your opponent's zone and look for the shots that you have and then figure out which one is the best from those rather than trying to set up something perfect.
Season series between the Ghost Pirates and the Everblades tied at 1 right now, so one team is going to take a 2-1 advantage by the time we are said and done with tonight. So, Jake, I think it's high time that we get into the Griffith Group of Downing Fry Realty, 3 keys to the game.
Well, we talked about the one key for this game is going to be finding ways to get on the power play more often. Only one power play. It's tough to succeed in a situation like that. Power plays very often change the course of the game. Even if there isn't a goal, with the momentum you can build off a good power play where you get some good opportunities, and with the way Florida was firing the puck on Wednesday, they very well could have been able to do that had they had more chances. So you look to draw more power plays is one key. Second key, you've got to make sure, as always, you're defending the rush really well. Savannah, they love their rush opportunities, their offense generated through speed, so you always got to be aware of that. And then finally is just going to be keeping that shooter's mentality while not getting frustrated if their goalie is on again tonight. I mean, it is frustrating when you're going up against a guy and it just seems like he's a wall in there and you can't get anything by him. But you've just got to make sure you go to the bench, know you're doing the right things, and that eventually you'll get them to work for you so long as you stick to the process and don't allow frustration to creep into your game. Don't grip the stick and get yourself into a bad spot trying to force something that isn't there.
Florida and Savannah here at Game 2 at Hertz Arena for Carnival Night on this January 12th action. Puck drop right around the corner in the South Division matchup.